right, nice job. Good set. Let's do some social kick.
And we're back.
Back again. Guess who's back?
Back again.
All right, that's it.
Luke is back.
All right. Well, how's everyone doing tonight?
We're doing well.
Yeah?
It's a very interesting
Just
week.
great. Yeah, just dandy. Everyone hanging in there. We got your El Dorado still in the frame for some reason. I expect to be chugging this bottle one of these
We will
nights.
have a sip of that.
Are you not actually drinking that?
We will be drinking it.
Is it today?
Don't you know this is
or-
product placement by Trinidad? They like sent this up and said, all right, we need this in every one of these podcasts that gets 100 views.
Well, let's put a Lamborghini.
This is going to be huge for us.
Come on.
Except that the logo's facing away.
Yeah, well, you know,
Well,
we're still
well.
figuring this
Yeah,
out, right?
what the hey?
I mean, we got Justin in a Illini shirt.
Speaking of age, 15 years.
But a Steph Curry hat. Fucking
Yeah,
go Dubs. Season
Go.
starts today.
How many wins
Sure.
for the Warriors this year?
I think they go 42-40 if Clay doesn't come back. 'Cause I
Oh,
just heard.
42-40.
I just heard that Clay might
Luke?
not come back.
Yikes.
45. We got 3 All-Stars, man.
And more importantly, Atlanta Hawks.
Don't care.
Trey Young.
All right, then. But you were making some basketball comparisons when we were watching the ISL meet, weren't you?
Oh yeah, the New York Breakers. They're the close comparison to the New York Knicks because they just cannot break 300. And for a while, I was like, are they going to break 200 points?
Yeah, so week 3 of the ISL kicked off here,
Wait,
and
I don't get it. The Knicks can't break 300?
No, the Knicks just
that's
suck.
pretty good basketball.
The Knicks just suck. And their winning percentage probably is like under 300.
So you're saying that the Breakers are as bad as the Knicks?
Oh, yeah.
Are they the worst team in the ISL?
I could argue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's argue about it.
What do you think? Who do you think's the worst team?
Let's play a game called How Bad Are the Breakers? So they're terrible. And we saw that they were terrible because the interviewers, like sideline reporter, didn't know who anybody on the team was. Nor did I, by the way.
Michael Andrew, Jacob Pebley are the only two that I can recall on the top
There
of my
were
head.
there were three
Leonel.
women that they got interviewed in the middle of the session. I don't know which one, like day 1 or 2, but the interviewer puts a microphone in front of him and goes, "And I'm with members of the New York Breakers."
Taco, taco.
Good save. Good save.
So what do you think? Are you having fun?
Uh-oh.
And you.
And
You just swam what event again?
This is my cameraman, John. What's your name?
Exactly. How can we get some names pulled out here?
I think so the broadcast is getting better.
Yeah,
But But I'm looking forward to the day that they get past the. Are you having fun?
Yeah, they're pretty very general,
Yeah.
non-specific questions.
So
right?
what do you think? We all know Luke appreciates that when they try hard.
Yeah.
We should ask everybody.
Well, they all just tried hard.
Are you
out
trying
there.
hard?
I did.
Do you feel? Is it hard?
I did enjoy the About the Bomb That Chroma with JoJo interview after the Skins, though, when she
Right.
was like,
Oh,
"Bomb's
that's
next to
great.
the
Yeah.
side," and they're like, "How do you feel?" "Oh, tired."
I can't move.
Oh, but that was great. But I don't know. Week 3, I saw, like I said, the production's getting better. Luke, did you get to watch much of it?
Yeah, I did, and I was super excited. And
Luke
I
had daddy duties as well.
I did, and I was helping somebody move, and I was streaming it on my cell phone and lifting a chair and moving. I was hooked in it, especially in the Skins. I was so excited.
Hold on. So were you just carrying the lighter stuff, and then it's like, oh my god, look at all this fast swimming.
I was directing the moving.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I thought it was like a couch in one arm, phone in one arm.
That's Brian. No, it was hella exciting. Oh, right across the board. I watched the
Hella
Saturday
Wow.
one. The whole thing had spot in it. And I was telling these guys earlier, you know what's cool about it? I did get into the competitive nature of the team against the team. It took me now 2 weeks in a row to do it. And not really focus or care too much on the times, which it won me over. However, I did tell those guys that I did check the swim splits afterwards, and I was like, oh, whew, okay. It was nice to see the splits, but I didn't care too much about it. I mean, I didn't care to know that Nathan went 21-0 in the first round. It was cool to see his drop off, but the times didn't matter. What was more fascinating to me was just how they battled and how they strategized. That was awesome.
Yeah, I think having a good team race made it more interesting and how competitive it was between each team, and having a couple teams up there for a part of it just made it more entertaining. And then the skins game, getting some more variety with the teams in there. I don't know. I think, like you guys said, the production's improving. It was a good team race. I had a good time watching.
The side-by-side nature of the teams I understood as well, because I did see like Katinka drafting Zabos in the 400 IM and things like that. I saw some really good things, and I love some strategy. I loved what Murphy did in the backstroke in the last 25, 200 backstroke in the last 25. I loved what how people shut down the last races. So there's a lot of definite strategy in there. What the coaches did, it was great.
Yeah.
I think that they said something to all the coaches before the event, saying not only should you explain that you made changes to the lineup, but explain
some general
why.
commentary.
I think they prompted them for
Give
that
some
because
more
you heard some of them that were kind of awkward. Like
They were all awkward.
like Peter Andrew was super awkward.
Michael didn't have a really good 50 breaststroke, so we're taking him out of the relay.
So we think it's going to give him a little bit.
Well, yeah.
It's going to be a better show. Do you want to know why? I'm going to tell you why. Okay.
Well, yeah, we're just like you said. I don't know. Those interviews are still a little odd to me.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's kind of nice to get some perspective, and we saw more of the relay interviews with the athletes. I thought that was interesting. So interviewing a relay swimmer during a relay.
That was
Yeah,
great.
that was
like
interesting. I
Kate
liked
Campbell
it.
right before she got to race. It was great to speak to.
But the
And she missed the
coaches,
race. No,
yeah,
kidding.
the coaches during the changes was, like you said, was interesting because it was like, oh yeah, so and so not looking that good in shape. Like they're talking like they're friends almost. When it's like, I don't know. It just seemed weird.
Well, because you're talking to the guy with like a headset.
Yeah, is he an official? I don't
He was
know.
like a production associate.
Probably
He's not.
right. Yeah.
It'd be different if it was like the meet host or somebody who was really, I don't know, a sideline reporter. If it was a sideline reporter and the deal was, okay, like David Marsh, walk me through. You're down 40 points. Talk me through. You got 3 events to go.
Yeah.
Looks like you're pretty strong in the breaststroke, and the relay, London Roar is looking pretty strong. Walk me through any changes that you made.
That would be good.
That's what I want to hear.
That would be
Why
good.
did you start this relay as opposed to having even relays? Or why did you decide to go even relays? Or why did you switch
Well, and
up?
he
They
mentioned
did a lot
that
of
in one
stages.
of them.
It
Like
was
we're
cool.
going to split up the relays.
Yeah.
Because they learned from the team last week.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I just it was clearly forced. I think they got to figure that out. Like who's hosting that segment?
Is what you're saying you want Rowdy on deck talking to these coaches? Is that what I'm hearing out of you, Brian?
I didn't hear that much about reaction time, so I was hoping to hear more about.
I feel like that's a
reaction
whole
times.
other podcast topic. Just FYI, we
Yeah.
should have Rowdy.
Deep dive Rowdy.
Deep dive Rowdy.
Take that everyone.
Everyone should do like an impersonation.
Well, he would have
of Rowdy.
loved the skins final. Oh my
Oh.
God, Vlad's reaction time! He won. But true enough,
He killed Adrian off the blocks, and Adrian, what he post on Instagram? What was that? Lactate 19.
Yeah.
He was feeling it. And they even had some extra rest. The bulkhead moved after that
Yeah,
first
yeah,
50
they got
of
it.
the skins, and they maybe had another 2 minutes there.
All right, so what do you think? What sort of effect do you think that had on the outcome? Because I was sitting there thinking, this favors Vlad.
Yeah, I think
Among everybody who was there, this
Nathan-
favors Vlad.
Nathan was wrestling
I
too.
think Adrian a little
Nathan.
too.
Yeah.
Nathan looked ready to go. Like he seemed kind of in the zone and get going like within that 3-minute span. But then once he sat down, it's just like he's just kind of waiting, Because if you look, he's like
He's the
breathing
only one who
really
sat
hard.
down. He's the only one who sat down and took
Yeah.
deep breaths and relaxed.
Mhm.
But I mean, he's got a lot of muscle, a
Yeah.
lot of lactate can build up
Right.
in that body. That's for sure.
It was interesting to also see Dave Marsh come over and just kind of
Yes.
like pep talk
Mhm.
Nathan a little bit. It'd be kind of interesting to get going back to the interviews, like saying, Dave Marsh, what were you saying to Nathan to get him super psyched up for this
They've
skin
worked
race?
together, right? On the Olympic teams, they've worked together.
I'm sure they have.
Yeah. He's probably telling him to try hard.
Hey, just have fun.
Did you see how awkward Peter Andrews' comments to Michael were
No.
before that?
No one.
Oh no.
He was
Should we go
saying something like, "You need to give it everything you have on this one, everything that you've got."
I heard you were worried about the Andrews, their sponsorship deals and things like that. Weren't you saying he was walking out and some other stuff?
It looked like Puma shoes, but I'm not 100% sure. And he's under Adidas, and I'm like, that's a little weird.
Oh, that would be weird.
Yeah, it looked like Puma from afar, but I could be wrong. And I'm willing to say I'm probably like 20% sure they
Listen.
were Puma.
Michael Andrews swam 5 races. Sidney Pickram swam like a 200 she swam crazy back to backs.
There's a lot
It
of
was
races.
in 6 hella again. Sorry, in 6 minutes, these people are swimming like a 200 breast and a 400 IM and things like that.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm 13 years into San Jose. I can use that word.
Your hair's too short to say hello.
No
Okay.
kidding. You got bleached that.
That's a Northern California slang that I like and I picked up. So there you go.
That nobody else uses.
So any other surprises or takeaways from?
Mars
Because this
also-
was the first time we saw these 4 teams competing. Brian, anything stand out for you?
I mean, you left our last podcast with a big roar. I
Roar!
didn't think they were going to
That's Don's
dominate.
team.
I mean, I was surprised at the difference between, and I think London actually just swam really well,
Mhm.
and I think LA Current swam okay, but not quite to what they
Right.
look like on paper.
Right.
And I mean, it could be about like where some of these teams sit in their training cycle.
Sure.
Also, is Aussie Trials earlier this year? Because, I mean, this far out, I don't know if that makes a huge difference in the cycle, but consider the fact that typically their trials is in like April, and you've got U.S. trials is 3 months later.
So Canadians.
I wonder kind of what impact that has on, okay, well, maybe we could be sort of fresh for
It was a topic they
this
brought it up.
season.
One of the interviews talked about the Olympic year.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Yeah, I'll look it up when it is. But I thought they were going to move it later, more like the U.S. trials from what
Yeah,
See, I
read
thought I
that.
heard that too, but I'm just curious if that has anything to do with some of the Aussie swimmers doing well, or if it's just whatever. you
Yeah,
know,
but that was one standout for me. I mean, Mina Atherton, so when I wasn't
Yeah.
that
Almost a
familiar,
world record, eh?
almost
Yeah,
a world
yeah.
record in the 100
Yeah.
back. She was, I think, 2nd or 3rd in the MVP behind Vlad. I mean, like you said, these London Roar, the Australian swimmers on London Roar that stepped up when PD and Scott and these other big names dropped out, so I didn't get my world record in the breaststroke events, but didn't seem to phase them at all.
Marzal's 50 breaststroke. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I still
But
want to
let's-
see that
but let's-
450 skins between Andrew, Vlad, and
Oh yeah, that would be
that'd
so
be cool.
good.
And
Yeah,
then
but how
our-
would you do the elimination? Like pick out of a hat what stroke to do?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe that would be.
Or would you just do
entertaining.
add up
Just
time?
do all 4
Yeah.
sums of it all? I don't know.
Broken 200 IM, basically. Interesting. But, Luke, to your point, if I remember correctly, Vlad used to do the breaststroke leg for USC.
Yeah,
back in
yeah,
the
Really?
day.
I didn't know that.
yeah,
Really?
Yeah,
yeah.
He,
Yeah, you're
and he
right.
was pretty darn good at
Wow.
it, too. Like,
Oh,
he
yeah,
would pass
definitely.
people.
So he did
yeah.
100
Yeah,
breaststroke.
He would do the 100 breast, too, yeah.
He would do the 100 as well. I think
At a
so.
dual meet.
Okay,
Maybe
yeah.
I think he actually did it at
Oh, sick.
NC's, actually. And he was actually not bad. He was, like, maybe top 8 finish.
We were talking about this tonight. Is he a top arm pull-out guy?
I don't know actually. Ooh.
Because he just, like Vlad's real big on popping out of the water real quick and swims very on top of the water. I mean, he bounces off the walls really well. The only person who's looks more explosive off the walls than him is Dressel. And
Yeah.
sometimes Vlad's really on, and he
Oh my
looks.
goodness.
He
He
looks
made
better than
Nathan
Dressel
look
does.
so bad in that last skins race, and Nathan just looked like he went in slow motion, basically.
Yeah, but I mean, they still went a second slower, or almost a second slower than
Mhm.
Caleb
Yeah,
did.
Right.
Dressel still
Yeah.
annihilated them.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I didn't find. It was still fun to watch. I think part of what was fun for this one to watch was a bunch of new swimmers.
Yeah.
Almost as if like this one had more star power to
Mhm.
it, and
agree.
and I don't know. I mean, that's subjective,
Yeah.
but I felt like there were a lot of bigger names that I was
Mhm.
excited to watch in this one, and but I'd say like the meet across the board. It certainly didn't top last week in Naples. Like Naples was really awesome. It was a
Mhm.
great meet down to the wire, and this one didn't quite have that.
Right, because
We also had a like current deep the relay, so
Yeah, I mean, for me, just the LA Current, just I think there's just so much superstar news. But for me, the big surprise is actually the London Roar, how well they did. Because I'm just not as familiar. Was it surprising for any of you guys to see how well they did, especially losing out on not having a PD or a Duncan Scott? Because they killed them.
Big time.
Yeah,
definitely, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, they
and
look
then
great.
Energy Standard, they were all fantastic last week, and then now London Roar is like, almost as comparable as them, I would say.
Do you think they're better?
Ooh, put their best people in, and then we'll see who's the best team.
I think London has the best looking colors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going for them
Yeah.
color wise. What do you think, Luke? Who do you think's got the best squad?
Too early to tell. I think people are still adapting to the format, and I think they're going to learn how to train and get ready for it better. So I think not next batch, but the batch afterwards, we're going to see the true colors of how these guys and the coaches are learning the format. It's still too early. I think we'll find out.
Pick right
we don't know
now.
yet.
You got to pick someone. Who is it?
It could be.
Just pick one. Just pick one.
I'm going for LA Current.
Okay.
LA Current.
I like that
Okay.
LA Current too.
I'm
See,
Yeah.
I think London Roar. I think
Yeah.
they're my
What I think
favorites
Scott
right
and
now.
Petey. Yeah.
They're your favorite team, London Roar?
No, I mean, favorite to win it all.
Mhm.
Favorite to win it all. I think they look strong. I think they're
You guys are
deep.
closest to me.
And we'll see kind of how it all goes with how it all pans out
Yeah.
with as teams learn how to do it a little more. But they even did, like I said, I think a lot of teams are still kind of figuring out, okay, how do we space out these A and B relays to maximize
Exactly.
points?
Yeah.
And even the Roarers having issues with that. So yeah, we'll
The
see.
coaches
Yeah.
get to know the swimmers better. So you guys are
Yeah.
gonna laugh at this comment I'm gonna make. I know you are. One thing I really enjoyed about the skins was I liked seeing how the swimmers were between their races. Because you know when you see these elite swimmers, they touch the wall and they're out of breath, but they're celebrating and they all get off. But to see them be more like us, like what they would look like must be when they're in training,
Mhm.
and to see how hard they were working and they were recovering
Yeah.
and breathing hard. It was cool to see them on deck, what each one did, and the coaches working after them, and it was lovely. You saw like a behind the scenes of how these guys and girls train,
Mhm.
and I enjoyed seeing that. I enjoyed seeing, oh, that's interesting what McAvoy did. He just stood up there and was calm and loose. Oh, what did Nathan do? Or look what Mana do. Mana do needed rub downs. Or look what Caleb did. Caleb's all relaxed. To me, that gives you a little behind the scenes of these personalities and how they train and what they approach their recoveries. Look at what McAvoy, he swam down right away until the very last minute and he popped out.
Yep.
And some people just popped out and sat down.
Mhm.
And I enjoyed that behind the swim near to me. You know?
Well, it's because swimming loves training.
That's it.
Swimming is obsessed
It's
with
true.
training and
It's true.
sets. When you go to a swimming conference, they all want
It's
to
true.
talk about what sets did so-and-so do, what's the
That's a good
training
point.
that they're doing. So seeing people in a training environment
Yeah.
for ultra swim fans is, I mean, that's as close as you're going to get, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's shorter and more exciting than watching like 10 200s or something like that. But I mean, we talked about flow swimming, whether it was on the podcast or what, but we still talk about some of those crazy training sets and
Mhm.
things that people have done, right? So I think it's a sport where seeing the training environment is really interesting.
And we can relate to it. I couldn't help thinking what would be my time drop off in a similar set. Would it be
Do you want me
Nathan?
to tell you?
Nathan dropped off by 2 seconds.
Let's hear, Brian. What do you think Luke would go in 350s yards?
On
Well, I want
Off the board.
time drop off. You saw it today.
I saw your time
saw it
drop off
today.
tonight.
I got it. A minute 10, 3 minutes.
No.
Man, going from Justin, burn.
I think I would, because in 100, right? 100 you do a 1.6 ideal drop off, but you're not going all out from beginning. So say you're going all out, I'd probably do a 3-minute rest, maybe a 1.8 second drop off on the first
Where are
one.
you getting this number from?
I
don't
know.
Yeah, what is
Where does this come from?
1.6
Where is
second
this-
drop off. I don't know
Between
why.
in a 50 split, ideally in 100 show goes meters, is 1.62 seconds.
Oh, you're
is
talking
pretty
about
Oh.
the difference between the
Okay,
first and
50
second
and
50 and
second
100?
50.
Correct.
Oh, yeah, like,
Okay.
I don't know, anywhere between you got guys like Chalmers who are more like 1.2
Yeah,
to
1.4.
1.4.
So now add 3
but like I
minutes
always said
rest.
like 1.8 to 2.2.
So that's what. So I thought about that. I thought about I would go a lot harder, obviously, because you have to go all out, but you're getting 3 minutes rest. So I figured I'd be about a 1.8 drop off between my first 50 and my 3-minute 50. But then after that, I
Gonna
could
get
see myself
dicey.
between the first and the third, probably 3 seconds easily.
Well, I know what we're doing next workout.
I know.
Let's try.
3 seconds.
Jeez.
So say you went at
That's rough.
21, I
I
probably
did
would
that
go
from my
20
first 25 to my second 25 and the first 50.
I think 3 seconds is realistic.
3 seconds for decent shape. I'm talking about not now, but in my peak shape.
And that's what makes Dressel's 350s that crazy.
It's
Uh,
crazy.
Absolutely insane. Like you said, he beat Vlad by over a second.
Yeah.
And Vlad killed Adrian.
I think his third 50
Right,
would,
the third-
would have been no, because there are a couple guys that were 21.2. I think that was kind of the cutoff. 21.2 or
yeah,
21
for the
was pretty
second.
low.
It
for
was
this,
all that third
for
one.
this first 50.
Yeah.
But I mean, like consider the fact that Dressel's third 50 might have made it through the first round of this last ISL.
Yeah, right.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty nuts. Yeah.
That's wild.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, save draft for later.
Here's a goofy
Yeah.
question.
All right.
Here's a goofy question. Quick goofy question. Was the DJ better at this meet?
I
No.
couldn't fit.
Okay, so I have a question. So, all right. Do you think so? The deck atmosphere.
Yeah.
One of the things that struck me was that you've got all the people that are warming down in between races, and there's so many races going on, that the team area is empty.
Yeah.
You've got the coaches there, and that's okay. But there are multiple events that I looked down at the screen,
That's
and
right.
you could see like all the areas were empty, or several of them were.
Sure.
And I was like, is there something else that they could do
Yeah,
to
NCAA,
prevent
you guys,
this issue?
That's
Like,
right.
you look at the NFL and NBA, and everybody's right there.
There's a squad.
Mhm.
What's the cool thing about baseball and,
even NCAA,
like,
like, more
everybody's-
guys are on deck watching the race, right?
well, I mean, guys are swimming down, but there's
But
bigger teams,
bigger
so you
teams.
have a bigger team area.
Well, 18 people on NCAA team, and there are about how many people? More than 18?
What is
Well,
it?
there's more. Yeah, there's 12 each.
Yeah.
But 12 men, 12 women.
20
So
And
there's
then
more.
they travel
There's more
14,
teams. There's a
right?
ton more teams.
Yeah,
as
but the
well.
races are just going so fast
They're
that,
rolling down.
Yeah.
that
It's
everybody,
faster than
like, they're
season,
still
isn't it?
swimming down from 3 races ago.
Mhm.
So instead of a diving break at ICLs, we need a.
ISL, you mean?
My wife was saying
We should get a,
Yeah,
we should
I
get a
was
break.
confused about that.
synchro break, some entertainment in
Yeah.
between,
Could be interesting.
something going on.
They
but
were playing music during some of the races this time. I
They
like
were.
that.
I
They
kind of
were.
enjoyed it.
They did like
actually.
a few like strobe splashes, like strobe light action
Yeah.
during the races. I'm like, that's cool. I would almost think that's like a false start or
I
something.
wonder-
Stop,
I
right?
feel like, what if they just put what if they had a setup where you could have endless pools that were all like in the team area,
That would be interesting.
and so you could
Kinda
always
like-
have like the whole team there, like a stadium, like okay, so a 4-person wide endless pool that's stadium, like 2 tiers, so you can have 8 swimmers in there at once, and anytime that they're about to start the race, they can just like pop their head up and be like, "What's up?" I don't know. I mean, I'm
Well,
just
hello
saying,
there.
like,
It's like Rodman on the bike getting ready for the game.
yeah,
back
exactly.
there,
But
right?
they'd be right there.
I think the solution to bring that is just to have a bigger squad.
Yeah.
And maybe that
Yeah.
there's more money into it, that they can have more people on the travel team, and then maybe there's even more switches throughout the race. I don't know.
Do you think part of what's fun in this setup is that there's so few swimmers, so there's so many repeat swims?
I think there is, and I
Yeah.
think swimming is a unique sport where there still are some athletes that are above and beyond, ahead of the rest. As crazy as it is at this level, there's a few, Katinka, Vlad, Caleb, that can do 4 or 5 events, and maybe when they're gassed, they're still going to be competing better than some of the other elite swimmers out there. So I think, I think it is nice to see them doing multiple events and push it there, but also I think, God, they're doing so much and they're still ahead of the game.
You heard Chalmers talk about that. Hey,
Yeah.
us Aussies aren't as used to racing as many times in a session, but
Yeah.
maybe that's something that we've got to prepare for this format.
Yeah,
I thought about a lot. All those swimmers who have never swum NCAAs, who have never been in a team environment, and they're getting to do this. It must be so much fun for them.
Yeah,
How many swimmers there weren't NCAA
Yeah.
swimmers?
One of the international guys also kind of went on an interview and said this is like the most fun I've ever had at a swim meet. It might have been Manitou or something like that. I think that he mentioned that, which is kind of cool to see. But yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think it's overall another positive week for the ISL, at least from my perspective. I don't know.
That
What
crowd
you
was
guys
tiny.
It was a small space, it looked like.
Yeah.
It was really small.
Right? I
I
mean,
was
because it
surprised.
was only on one side where they have spectators,
right.
right? So we'll see. I mean, this next
Well-
week's up in Budapest. I know they have seating on both sides. Hopefully they
You've been to the pool.
use those for spectators
Didn't
this
they
time.
say that it's actually like
3,000 tickets.
3,000 tickets are sold,
Sold.
and that like
Yeah.
in US dollars, that's like $30 per ticket. That's like a good amount of money coming in for a swimming event.
Going back to my moving experience in the
It's
weekend.
Not like
Yeah.
NBA
I mean,
level.
we don't know their finances, how much
Yeah.
they're putting into
Mm-hmm.
the production stuff, as well as paying these athletes.
Right.
Are they paying ESPN to get it on there? Right? I mean, I don't know anything about how the numbers are going, and I'm worried because
I'm
it
worried.
seems like
too.
there's a lot of money being put into this.
It looks like a lot
Right?
of money being put into it.
But hey, we're enjoying it, so thank you.
Well,
I mean, I like it,
on.
but to that point of enjoyment, I mean, so we've had 3 weekends in a row of ISL swimming, and I'm not tired of it. I'm still into it.
Yeah, I am too.
But I wonder if some of the newness, once that wears off, if it'll be as exciting.
Yeah.
And I think that comes to the how much you care about your team and the team loyalty.
Sure.
And building some loyalty around the team and the brand, and that's where right now it's all based on the swimmers that are on the team,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no other factor. But sports teams are largely based, in That's not true for everybody. Like some people like teams because of they like the players on the team, or you move to a different city and you gravitate that because it's like it's culture and humanity, right? To be like part of groups. But I just like there's no city affiliation
Yeah.
with all of them, so
We'll see
I
how
just
it
wonder if
goes.
that's going to be an issue for it,
And
Because I don't have like a favorite team. Is my point. Like I mean,
Yeah.
there's swimmers that I'm interested to watch, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Well,
and maybe like the younger generation will gravitate toward a particular team, but I don't know.
I was talking to my friend who I was moving with. He's a triathlete, and I was obviously very passionate about it and excited, and I was selling it so much. And yeah, he sat down and watched it for like 12 seconds, but he wasn't that interested. And I couldn't really. And I said, "This is the skins." I sold it. He wasn't that going, and ISL has to have a bigger audience than the four of us. Basically, it has to have, and also, but it's doing pretty damn well to compete against NFL Sunday, college football Saturday, Premier League Saturday, Rugby World Cup is going on. It's doing really well to compete against that and win that market share. But how does it get past, and does it need to get past more than just the swim nerds that we are?
Well, and I think that's where what is their target audience,
Right.
and I think they're still going for the masses, but I don't think they're going to get them, right? Because like you said, it's just not on that big a stage to get there. I mean, I had my dad watch part of it, and I mean, he could care less about swimming, in all honesty, but he couldn't get into it at all, and he's been to a million of my meets, so he has some swimming knowledge. But he couldn't get
Well, why
into
is swimming
it.
big in the Olympics? You know why? NBC does a really good job at building
They
up
do.
the characters.
The
And say, this is
characters.
John Mullet. He's from Dayton, Ohio, and he is a
Yeah.
kid who did this, and now we all fall in love with John, see how he does.
Yeah, so
That's
and
what
we
I
talked
watch it.
about that. I mean, it's the first thing in the Olympics. The Olympic buzz is
Right.
going. They build the characters. There is some carryover from
Yeah.
Olympiad to Olympiad,
Yeah.
so you can build the face over time. So they need to keep building that up. And like I said, after the Olympics, they'll have their chance to keep some consistency with it. But I think a few points that you guys are both talking
Mhm.
about. One, as far as, how long can this go?
Yep.
I mean, it's only 4 more weeks.
I mean, that's
Brian.
good. It's
So
quick.
we have Budapest, and then we
Yeah.
have the U.S. match, then the European match, and then the finals. So it's a pretty short season, which I think is probably a good idea to
2-week break.
keep people excited there. And then my other reason why I'm worried about this, Justin, and I don't know if you talk with your athletes about this. I talk to the high school kids I work with about this. None of them know about this.
No, I know.
None of them
No,
know
I know.
about
I
it.
I know.
I'm like, oh, do you guys watch the ISL? What's that?
Yep.
And they're like being recruited to
The
swim
people
in
we
college.
swim
Yeah.
against, who
It's
you
not
invite
like
to
they
buy.
aren't into swimming.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I go on a little rant about how it's kind of cool, and I'll show it at the office, and they're like, oh yeah, and they kind of get into it a little, but they don't even really know what
Right.
it is or care about it at all.
People we swim with.
And it gets me back to like a point with the WNBA that I make with people. I've treated a lot of college or high school female basketball players, and ask them who their favorite WNBA team is, and they don't have one. And it's like, if that's not like your core market, it's going to be a problem.
Mhm.
And I'm worried with the ISL is that if they can't get the high school, the college, like that population going,
So what do we
they're,
do?
they're not going to get it.
What do we do to suggest? What can they do?
Wow, I don't know. That's a really tough question.
Good
I-
podcast.
I think it's a good podcast. I think continue to market on SwimSwam, and I think they are getting some name out there,
Yeah.
but trying to build more for the swim fan. Maybe they need to be going to other areas to promote this, and maybe it's just a little bit more time is all it's going to need.
Diamond League in track doesn't get the exposure, but when a Diamond League person sets a world record, it goes on ESPN.
Well, that's how swimming
End
would
of the
be.
day.
If someone broke a world
That's it.
record on this,
Yeah.
it would I think
Yeah.
make Sports Center.
Yeah, that
That's it.
Atherton girl broke what, a world record and the U.S. Open record, right? If I'm not
Not a
mistaken.
world record.
No, no,
Yeah,
no,
well,
not a
U.S.
world
Open.
record.
Sorry,
US
U.S.
Open
You just
record,
U.S.
yeah.
Open, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be a world record.
Yeah.
But they're trying to get away from times, right? Because
Like-
they realize people can't break world records constantly.
But yeah, I agree. But look how much attention which we should have talked about last podcast, the 159 marathon got.
Yeah.
I mean,
It will get.
that's so much attention, headlines. And back in the 80s, Biondi and Jaeger tried to break a world record, and they went to a pool and to focus on breaking 53.
Mhm.
Imagine if they introduced some of those races that went for speed, like in the finals, we would have a guest appearance by Ledecky versus Smith, and Smith would be the rabbit, and I don't know what it is, but can you imagine?
You want to see a rabbit race?
No, it'd be cool though.
I mean, I think a world record would get some more buzz to it. Get on Sports Center where maybe they say, hey, this was done at the ISL. There's another one next weekend or something like that. But I don't know if that would do it. or get much more buzz around it other than that.
I was just pulling
Brian,
up. There's a couple failed track leagues that a buddy of mine was telling me about. The one's called the American Track League. It looks like it disbanded in 2016, or that was the last season that they had. So I mean, it's just like we've talked about it happening in football, and questions about the ISL's profitability. You know, it's been tried in track before, and they've got a pretty good corollary with the Diamond League. And I mean, you were speaking about your Diamond League experience before. The difference, I think, in this one is that, and this is true against, you know, like, for example, that football league is like you've got so many of the world's best swimmers participating in it. Like, it's such a high percentage. Now, so, like, if that continues, I think it's critical for the league to succeed. If we had half of the world's best swimmers in it, or less, I don't think we'd have anywhere near the viewership.
Sure.
I mean, is NCAA swimming interesting? Yeah, especially for those of us like participated in it. But either way, it's like I think it's kind of fun to watch. But the world audience doesn't care. So when we look at ISL, it's like I worry about guys like Petey who pull out, or what's happening. Like, let's say that they tried an Asian expansion and there was resistance from NGBs within Asia about the participation there, or we've kind of heard whispers of some inclination that some swimmers or you know, their national governing bodies don't want them to participate. I would worry about that.
But so many, what's going for us is the fact that so many of our best swimmers don't get paid well. So they will be, that's why a lot of them are going, because they're getting a salary. So it's ironic that, but it's true. The ones who can afford to pull out do. Like, why isn't Lochte in here?
Well, because he's
He's out of shape.
Yeah.
Or doping because he's banned.
I thought he's out.
I thought he's out suspension.
He's off suspension.
Yeah, but they don't let
Yeah, he's
anyone
off,
in
but
that's
it's one and done.
Yeah, this is one and done. If you've ever
ISL.
done before,
that's
they
right.
say
There's a
it's
rule.
not
Yes, I
invited.
forgot about that. Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
they're
so
having
you
a
got-
hard stance on that, which you could.
That's
argue
why I didn't
is-
get invited.
What have you been doping? Testosterone pellets.
Where'd you put him in? Where'd you put him?
You should have gone faster on that second 75
TRT
tonight.
loop. But yeah, I agree. Where it's going to be very interesting to see how it transpires with these next couple of weeks. And like you guys said, swimming has always been a sport of, you know, you have the few that are the haves, Phelps, Lochte, these guys that are making tons of money or making enough money off of it.
Sun Yang.
And then you have people that are just a step or two below that
Don't make me.
are making anything.
Yeah.
Right? Or just making enough living wages, more or less, to get by. So we'll see if this can help people out, and if those big bodies do get more involved into it. I mean, it was great to see them participate a little bit, and Ledecky swam one of the competitions, and they're on teams, but it's intriguing to see if they will partake even more, because it will somewhat increase their risk of losing maybe big money later on if they get hurt at one of these things, or if I don't know, if they get overtrained or overworked during these meets going back and forth across the country, and then they can't compete at the Olympics or aren't at top level. I mean, there's so much pressure on the Olympics because there's so much sponsorship money there.
I think it didn't strike me the first 2 weeks, but this time around, watching the skins was so much more fun than watching the rest of the meet.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
More skins.
Yeah.
More like it's so different, and it changes the way that you feel watching it, because there's suspense to it,
And you feel
there's
for the
like,
guy.
oh my
You
god,
have
they've
no
got to be
idea.
hurting so
This
bad.
looks rough.
You've got to be kidding. They've got to go again in 3 minutes.
Well, it's kind of
Hopefully 3.
like that moment,
The
like
bulkhead
fourth quarter,
doesn't
you
move.
see Curry hanging on his shorts or something, right? You can
That's what-
tell they're tired out
that's the
there. And then they
audible
do
in
something
football.
amazing still. That's when you're like,
That's the audible.
I just watched him
Yeah.
sucking wind.
Yeah.
And
There's-
they just
you
did
saw
something
Dressel
amazing,
do
right?
amazing.
That's when you can see a greatness.
Mhm.
So I think it provides that element to it.
There's magic in that. We got to figure out what it is about that moment, or how other ways to draw that moment out for the viewer.
No, you're not allowed to breathe.
Oh god.
Do you think?
I mean, honestly, I think there's
Something
some
like that.
there's some of that sort of charade where there's like other
shallow water blackouts.
Here we go.
Tenfold.
No, for
Here we
sure.
go.
Like not draw the
This
like
just in.
not draw the 200 IM order out of a hat and go do that.
Yeah,
Like,
that's like a gimmick.
that's not it. But
That's not a feat of strength.
no, but we talked about like elimination races.
Yeah.
I really think that they should
Mountain
throw
set?
like Nickelodeon slime on somebody
Oh
if
my
they.
goodness.
Or how
Wow.
about you do like I don't know, you could do something where you have 25, 50, 100, 200, 500 free. Draw an event out of a hat, top 4 move on. Draw an event out of the hat, top 2 move on. So you have to have some pretty versatile people in there. You don't know if you're pulling the 500 first. You don't know if you're pulling the 25 first.
Yeah,
That would be interesting.
I
How
definitely
they
wouldn't do a
structure-
full 500, but I would do.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
short
Maybe you only
stuff.
go up to 200 or something.
Yeah,
but
but-
something where you're
uh-huh.
testing the different capacities, and the teams are like, okay, we got,
Yes.
you know, Sarah Sostrom, who can go the distance versus, you know, Chroma with JoJo, who, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but I think
Oh,
that
man.
I think the match component to it
Sure.
is really important. Like when it's 8 swimmers, not as much. When it's down to 4, that's better. When it's down to 2,
You can just focus, right? It's just
yeah,
like-
it is so cool.
And you can really pick up on, oh, this is when, wow, he killed him on the start. We all said Vlad killed him on that start, right?
Yeah,
Because it was one-on-one. And you could see him pop up at his, whatever, his waist or
In
whatever.
the clear water.
yeah.
I mean,
But what if? Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. No.
What if they like changed up the way that they do skins? So I like the format that it is today,
Yeah.
not like that like tight, you know,
And you add 2 age groups.
lactate threshold or
or
lactate.
Oh, by the way,
tolerance.
on their heels.
But what if
Age groupers have to kick.
But what if it was like a bracket that
Yeah.
was spaced
Oh.
out throughout the meet? And so you had like, you know, in the first quarter of the meet, you had Adrian against Vlad, or maybe it was like tiered based on your entry time or
Yeah.
something. So the best seeded swimmers were ranked first, or it had something else to do with your wins
Sure.
earlier in the season and your advances, so that
That
when
could-
you come in, you're at a better bracket.
Mhm.
That'd be cool if you just said like, okay, you guys have a head up match. One advances, one doesn't. You're gonna come back and do it again in 30 minutes, not 3 minutes.
Sure.
But you're talking about seeing something novel and something you haven't seen before, and a feat of human endurance that make us think that they're superhuman.
Mhm.
And we all looked at the videos on YouTube of like the Texas kid who could kick a 50 or 100 underwater
Yeah.
and go like this. Or we all love the dolphin kick with the underwater, and these guys go
The
like a 19, the monofins, right? So
We all love that.
we
right?
all do, meaning the
At least I do.
before we go on.
way.
But could you imagine if Nathan and Morozov on your last 50, you guys just did 3, but now put fins on and dive with the boat with fins or something like that, or underwater roll.
I mean, I can imagine it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that stuff would get you interested. Like, oh, that's interesting. Get
But-
a tool.
Is that
Paddles
only
and fins.
for the swimming community or for the grand community? Because I'm thinking about it now, if I were a non-swimmer, I wouldn't really get it. You know,
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
I
how
think
fast
that,
they are.
I think
Yeah,
that is.
I
just
wouldn't
a-
get it.
I
You're
think
right. That's a good point.
Yeah.
You'd be like,
That's a
yeah,
good
these
point.
bums need fins.
Yeah.
You know, right? I
Yeah.
think it would lose
Yeah.
it, but I think some of that a little bit, or I
Bring a
think,
suit back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
I got an interesting thing because we were talking about how to grow ISL, and I was thinking about the early days of the NBA, going back to basketball, but rivalries, right? Created stories, right? You know,
That's
you
right.
had Bird versus Magic,
That's right.
then you have
That's right.
the Bad Boy Pistons versus the Bulls.
Mhm.
Do you think a rivalry would be super fun to watch between, like, I don't know, like the LA Current versus the London Roar? You know,
Big
just
time.
that
I
would
think
be like
that'd
super
huge
fun.
for it, but I think it's tough because
Yeah.
it's not they're not all associated
Too
with
young to-
cities.
Mhm.
It's a brand new league.
Mhm.
You
Right,
know, it's not all
absolutely.
people from the same
Mhm.
age or anything, so it's just kind of a hodgepodge,
Yeah,
which makes
because-
it tough.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
talking about it on Sunday, or at least I was talking about
Yeah.
it. This is going to sound odd, but it's kind of too bad Shane, who Katinka's
Oh my
former
God.
coach, isn't still around with Katinka. If he was the head coach of Iron, that would maybe build some
And Laurie Lawrence,
adversity or
Duncan
animosity.
Armstrong's coach.
Like some of these
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
controversial
coaches like
coaches are
hating
on
each
there,
other.
and that
Yeah.
are like super going nuts on deck.
Yeah.
Like, because right
That'd be
now it's
great.
like everyone looks very nice. Like everyone's having fun, right? That's what we've
Yeah.
learned. Everyone's having fun.
And then, like, you have,
But
Here's why I made the
remember
lineup
in the
change.
interview,
Right?
yeah. Remember in the interview,
why did I make the last change? Because Katinka's gonna whoop them.
Yeah.
We're gonna can beat these
Yeah.
up and down the lane in any event, any time. Katinka's doing 5 events in session 1. 6 events in section 2.
And nobody has a swimming.
We're
We're all
taking
gonna watch.
minus points because these other people aren't swimming, but she's gonna win like something like that.
I don't want
There's
to
not
see
much
some more.
controversy.
Some more
Yeah, I know,
like,
there's
yeah.
no trash talk. There's
Right?
no like.
Yeah.
Well, we saw it in who was it? Like a Clemson DB the other day who got in a fight during the game, and it's like that'd be sweet if we saw more of that in swimming.
Right.
People used to talk about Amy Van Dyke spitting in her competitors' lanes,
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Little things like that.
Yeah, I mean, like we've seen some of that, but I mean, it's never super cutthroat.
It's
in
never
swimming.
been in the sport, but I think like you said, some rivalries or some sort of
Like head to head, like
some
'cause-
more connection, and maybe it will just take a year or two and be like, Energy Standard, London Roar,
they hate each other.
whatever. Or like they're always the top, so
Yeah.
they're always competing, and they put together great meets.
It's too early.
Because remember in the interview with David Martin, like, David, how did you getting your swimmers prepared for this? And he goes, oh, I called James Gibson, the coach of Energy Standard the other day, just to see what ideas I can get. I'm like, really? And
But it is hard for him because one of the coaches said, "Listen, I'm not too sure what kind of training they've been doing. I just
That's
got in
true.
2 days ago. I don't know where they're at, so it's a lot of guess, and we're relying on them."
Yeah, I
So
mean,
it's
it's not
hard
like
too.
the NBA or
Mhm.
baseball where they're all training together. You know
Training
these
camp.
people
Yeah.
very well on your team. You see them every day. You know someone's been sick or someone like garbage. So I don't know. So I think there's still a lot to be figured out, and I think a lot to grow still. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm having fun with it.
Yeah.
I guess one last question I have for you guys: Skins game. Would you watch 100 free repeat Skins game?
Definitely
Oh,
not. No.
Right? Like
No.
Like there's a point of no return or point of limiting returns.
No, for
Eric
sure
Eel
not.
Musambami.
What was that?
Eric the Eel Musambami.
Oh,
yeah.
gosh, Eric.
It will be a repeat of enough respect, but that 100 free at the Sydney Olympics 2000.
I know who that
was
is.
hard.
I would, the maniacal evil person in me is just like, do it.
200 fly Skins game for Justin.
Heck yeah.
I have no interest in watching any of that.
So-
If they were good, I mean, God, we all know some people though that could just repeat, right?
Yeah, but that I don't know. It just takes too long.
It would be long for
Yeah,
sure.
and again, that
I'd be-
panders more to the swimming community.
So,
big time.
I'd be
Big time.
I'd be more inclined to watch 25s
Yeah.
than 50s or than
Yeah.
100s.
Would it be a cool thing if they just moved the bulkhead and just did long course? What if they did that? Just a straightaway 50 free, and that's
So-
how they did the.
so what if-
that's how they do it?
No.
What if it's a blind meet? Like they come out and like,
Returns
okay, by the
exciting.
way, you're now swimming a 50 fly. We're like, oh, I wasn't okay.
Are they blindfolded?
I'm
what's
so
happening
confused.
here?
But
Where's
I,
the wall?
Like
I-
blind
am I
where you
the
bump
boss?
them on the head with the
No.
tennis
Am I
ball.
supposed to dive in here
no,
or
Nathan
there?
and Brad show up there and they don't know if it's a 25 or the 50 as long as the show goes. But I was going to segue onto another topic that we were going to bring up about the NCAAs. And my segue was how many of those swimmers that you saw swim the last couple of weekends that you would have thought would have killed it if they swam NCAAs?
You're not supposed to say segue when you segue.
I'm segueing.
We gotta telegraph what we're doing here.
So,
how
but
many?
How many of the swimmers that we saw swimming, like the Kate Campbells and the Cameron McAvoys and Katinka swam NCAAs? No, she didn't.
Yes, she
Yeah,
did.
she did.
Yes,
Sorry,
yes, she
you see,
did.
you see. About how many of those who did not swim NCAAs, but we saw swim this weekend in an NCAA kind of format, would have killed it. Would have been one of the top 25 NCAA swimmers of all time that we saw this weekend.
Crumble with JoJo. I mean, God, she would have been great at the 50 yards free. I mean, she's great at 50 short course meter. I mean, great at all the 50s. But
The Campbell
I think she
sisters
would
would
have
have
Campbell
absolutely
sisters would
locked
have
it
been
up.
amazing.
Chalmers.
Kyle Chalmers.
Milac.
Duncan Scott. But we didn't see him swim.
I
but
don't
Yeah.
know. My luck.
I mean, I don't know how many of those people would you look at and go, no, they're not. They would not have been good at NCAAs.
It's true.
Yeah.
But how many?
My
we
luck
missed.
is one he brought up. I'm intrigued. I mean, obviously he would be good, but I mean, I don't know if he'd
But
be
we missed this in
winning
NCAAs.
to fly.
It's meant to be the fastest meet in
He
the world.
swam the
Well-
400. He did okay. He didn't do great,
Yeah.
but
I mean, I don't
wasn't
think it
terrible.
is the fastest meet in
They,
the world.
they say that, no? It's the fastest meet in the world
I don't know who said that or why. but
It's just
because
it's
of
floating
depth.
I
on.
mean,
Because
Olympic
of the
trials
depth.
was faster.
Because of the
US
depth.
Olympic trials is.
I mean, trials is faster. In certain events, the Olympics is faster than U.S. trials. I
But
mean,
who we're missing? When we think into NCAAs, who would we wish that we had seen? I wish I saw Pop swim in NCAAs.
Oh, do you just mean because there are a lot of elite swimmers from a lot of different countries
Who
who swim
don't
in the NCAA?
Yeah, yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
ISL
swim
replaces
college.
that.
Yeah, with short course stuff. I mean, I don't know. I think there's a lot of international swimmers I would have loved to see swim yards and just see what they could have
Right.
done.
Yeah.
I mean, off the top of my head, some of those we're talking about. I mean, Sostrom, Grimo Jojo, Chalmers,
Maybe later in life when they peaked at 27.
Chad Leclos.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, what Leclos
Oh,
could have done
yeah.
yards.
Yeah.
I mean,
Laszlo Czech would have ripped up those Texas. I mean, imagine Laszlo swimming
Manadoo.
Manadoo.
Amanda
Flip side.
prime.
Flip side of NCAA's was short meters every year.
Yeah,
Enough
Some of those world
records.
records.
there'll be a
torn
lot
up.
faster records, and that's why I'm
Yeah.
intrigued with with Vegas. If people rest a little bit, there should be some world records.
Oh yeah,
Right?
in Vegas.
I mean,
yeah,
3 or 4, I would think,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see
Sure.
who's there, I guess.
yeah.
What teams make it? But like we were saying, the one Australian backstroker was pretty close. Atherton pretty
Mean
close to
Atherton,
breaking
yeah.
that one. Yeah, PD who could be close. Milok was only a second off, I think. I mean, I think the short course meters fly record's only 149 or 148.9, and he went 150 long course, so he should be pretty darn close.
And
Give
he
him a
looked like
little
he
rest.
was toying with people too. Like he was toying with like Tom Shields and Jack Conger. He was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna take the third."
I know
50."
He definitely closed well, but
Yeah.
he typically closes
Yeah, he
well.
should.
So
Nice
I don't know
100
if he
free
was
by
toying
Tom, by
with
the way,
it.
49.5.
Yeah, Tom
Yeah.
had a
Tom
great
swam
Yeah.
really well.
He did 200
Yeah.
back. I mean, you forget how
What a good
how
dominant
good
color
and
swimmer he
versatile
was.
he was. Yeah,
I like the fact that commentary on that too was like, Tom, you're known for your underwater, your ability to get off the wall as well. Like,
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to use my tools.
good for you.
Yeah, I mean, if this
Yeah.
takes off, the ISL, I mean, how many years is Tom Shields going to swim through the circuit? Or could he?
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
but like in total, I want to see the end of year, money haul
Yeah.
from the average ISL participant, because
Very
like the sort of median line for income from the ISL has to be enough to sustain somebody to keep doing it. Like, I don't know what's
It's true.
like let's picture John at 25 and he's still swimming post college. How much money do you need to make from ISL for that to be enough carrot for you to swim for another year?
And that's all income I'm making.
I mean, let's say that you've got some other stuff to cover your expenses, but that amounts to 10 to 15 grand a year.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Depends where I'm living, but
I mean, I
30,
don't,
40 grand to make off of it. And
some of the
within a
report
short
outs.
time too.
and then maybe some thoughts in my head that I'm still getting better and could make the Olympics and make more off of this and things like that.
Yeah, so
Well,
it's still not enough to just sustain itself, right? So it's like the
Yeah.
point I'm making is like people aren't going to delay other
Sure.
things. But that said, you don't necessarily have to delay other
Yeah,
things.
yeah,
You can still participate in
something.
it and not put off career or life. It's just we know that there's a balance,
Mhm.
and so to be able to maintain like your ability to earn money in the
Yeah, yeah.
ISL, then you got to be in good enough shape.
You know, ISL is going to give us the opportunity for people like Morozov to swim really fast short course pool times later in their life when they may peak. Like Vlad just did his best time long course, right? 21.2 in Singapore. He would not have as much opportunity as he has now to swim all these fast short course times unless he goes to the World Cup meets.
Yeah.
But you go to World Cup meets on your own dime. ISL is paying these people to go to their meets.
Yep.
So you're getting more opportunities to see these swimmers swim short course, fast swimming later in life where they may peak, and that's awesome for the sport. Because who would have thought you ever saw Kate Campbell swim a 50
Yeah.
short course meters
yeah.
so often? That's great.
Big time. It was great.
I love
It's
that.
exciting, and yeah, I think there's exciting stuff, that's for sure. So I know we were going to talk about one other topic, but I think we can just dive into what we're going to finish up with because we've been going for a little bit, and it's what happens next year. And what happens with the elite swimmers coming into it. I'm sure at the Olympics there's going to be people that we've never heard of, whether it's from U.S. or from other countries, like with Milok, who came out of nowhere recently, Atherton, who came up recently out of nowhere. There's going to be elite swimmers coming up. There's going to be college seniors that are graduating. What happens with those people next year? I don't think the ISL has outlined what the plan is. Have you seen anything?
No, nothing that I'm aware of. Because the numbers are only going to increase for the number of people that want to be a part of ISL.
We didn't really know about ISL a year ago.
No,
we
not at all.
heard rumors of it, but
And it was kind of confusing.
It
and
was
just-
controversial with FINA, right?
Yeah, I think
That's
they
all
were
we heard
just
about.
hoping
Yeah.
to get it
Confusing.
going, right?
Yeah.
And we're seeing changes kind of on the spot. So, with these elite swimmers coming into it, and we're already starting to see some stronger teams than others, let's be honest. Luke, what do you think they should do to
I think
try
they
and even out, or
I
what should
think
be the
that
plan?
I think we definitely need to have the ISL 1 year from now, because after the Olympics we are all mad crazy and missing swimming, and it's always a down year. And I remember the Tiburon sprint meet was right after London 2012, and that was a really exciting event, and that happened in September.
Mhm.
And it was just great to see all these swimmers 1 month after London to go and race there. And I think the world would have fallen in love with these stars and see them all win gold in Tokyo. And the ISL could not benefit more by having some of these recent well-known gold medals in their honeymoon period of media coverage, all of a sudden now in a professional league. So they should more than certainly jump on this bandwagon and get the higher level coverage going, because the honeymoon period after the Olympics is that September to November period when the sponsors, when they're on ads, when everything. So it's going to be amazing.
And that's right during when the ISL season's going on. But what do you think should happen with the graduating seniors in college, or the people that aren't on teams going into next year?
Draft lottery.
You're saying draft, Justin?
Yeah, draft lottery, because I think it makes it more interesting.
Expansion.
So you're saying the worst team gets the first pick,
Yeah.
or you want the NBA?
I want the
numbers
NBA
out of
because
the-
I want, if Stephen A. Smith were to show up and the New York Breakers don't get the first pick, he's gonna be like, "Oh my God, the New York Breakers did not get the first pick."
Anyways, Brian, what do you think they should do? Do you think just a draft from worst to first?
I hesitate to say I think they should break it up, but it's not a level playing field today, and I think starting it off, I don't know of any other league that started off with just open free agency. I also don't know if they're paying the same amount to each
I have no
team.
idea.
Yeah, I don't think we know either.
Like,
how it's all
so,
financially
I mean,
working.
I suppose it could be that there's, no salary cap, and
kinda
each
like
team
baseball
is paying
where the
whatever they
Yankees
want to
are
pay.
just
Yeah, so I
Base
mean,
and all that.
it's possible that the Breakers are a small market team.
maybe.
Yeah.
Or I don't know,
Oddly named.
say it
but-
was a draft. How long would it take the Breakers, do you think, to get #1 picks to be up in the running?
Who left? Who was there that's left? Some new people we find nowadays. Some graduates from college, or like the Reagan Smith graduates or something like that.
Yeah, say
like,
Reagan Smith goes pro at the
Right,
Olympics.
exactly.
So say she's the #1 pick. Say
Right.
every year you get
Mhm.
someone like that. I don't know. I think in a couple
Oh,
of
we
years
have
they
trades.
could turn up. Yeah, are there
Yeah,
trades in
it could-
this?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because that makes things even more interesting, because Jacob Heavily, he's on Breakers, and you would think he'd be in LA Current,
Yeah, but they don't train. I mean, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to do with
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
That's what we're finding out. I mean, who's the U.S. guy that's on the European
Gunnar
team?
Bentz.
Yeah, Gunnar Bentz is
Yeah.
on one of those teams.
Mhm.
So
I don't know.
I want to see some trades though.
When would your trade deadline be?
It's a very short season.
Probably after the next weekend, right?
It'd have to, well, yeah.
Before the
It'd
US,
have to be after next
yeah.
weekend.
Yeah. So I don't know.
But then your advantage knowing that some of the teams aren't going to advance, and so, well, I guess the same is true for other sports.
Yeah.
But it's not in the same way. Like, you could.
I would love to see a trade just like so and so's personality's not fitting. He wants to do 5 events a session. We only want him to do 2. We're
Trade.
trading him for a bag of peanuts.
Yeah, you're
Like,
out of here.
Get
Just
out of
release
here,
them.
right? Exactly. You're
We've,
just
you
release someone.
So far,
You
we've
know,
only
we're
had
hard
swimmers.
enough.
We've only had swimmers release themselves.
yeah. I mean, are there any? And we'd have to dive into it all. I mean, are there any swimmers that are just only getting negative points like constantly? Like every time they swim, they're just really doing bad. I mean, are
And
they
then you
gonna
gotta
get cut?
cut, yeah.
Or
I mean, I don't know if this is the worst of it, and I hate to call these guys out, but like, the Indiana breaststrokers aren't really rocking it, right?
no, they're not. That's who I thought of too.
Yeah, and I mean,
I think they're
I
getting
just know about it because they're
They're not getting negative points, but yeah, they're getting 6th and 7th, I think, at the first 2 weekends in a lot of those races. So
I think it's gonna be real interesting the first time it happens that somebody gets released for performance, especially somebody
yeah.
Maybe more prominent in name
Yeah,
because they weren't ready for the season. I don't think it's gonna happen this year.
yeah, I think
This year, everybody's all
Having
smiles
fun.
and
They're having fun, right?
This is great.
I think
Yeah,
I
but-
think the bandwagon's gonna catch on, and I think we might see some celebrity guests or hosts on deck. Imagine if Michael is on deck interviewing the coaches, or up walks Popov and says something.
Yeah,
I
but the
think
problem
that
is
could
they
be
can't afford him.
No, he'd have to do
They
it.
can't
out of
afford
his-
him coming. He would just need to come and do it to promote the
Which
sport.
I don't
I'm
think
sure
he
he's watching
will.
it, and he's like, "Oh, this is awesome. I wish
I don't know.
this was it."
I don't know.
You think Phelps would have done this during his heyday?
No.
I don't think so either.
Because
No, I mean, he didn't do World Cups. He didn't care about short
He
course.
didn't need it.
Yeah,
But
but
I don't think he was in the. Yeah.
I'm sure he
No,
wanted
It's
to.
all about long course.
He would have
no,
wanted
and I mean, to that
It's fine.
point, like we're still missing a lot of the world's best swimmers.
Yeah.
A lot of the world's distance swimmers
Yes.
Yep, big time.
who
The
it just
Italians,
doesn't apply.
the Italian distance swimmers, the Chinese distance swimmers, the Japanese backstrokers, and Chinese freestylers.
Yeah. And then even some of the people that have had one doping
Yep.
thing, right? I mean,
But we got the best sprinters.
I think one other thing that, like I said, with controversy and Shane, I mean, if Efimova was in this,
Yep.
there's
Yep.
a rivalry built in
Against
already,
Aaliyah,
right?
with Aaliyah and Lily.
Yeah, that would have brought. I
That
think
would've been
especially
great.
after the Olympics. I mean, the
Matt
last Olympics
Horton.
they
Right.
built that up so much.
What if they built a team out of dopers?
The super team.
What if they
This is not wrestling.
Super
The
duper
WWE. In comes the Undertaker.
what if they built a team out of convicted dopers or convicted? I don't know if that's the
Yeah,
word.
just
They call them the convicts.
alleged doper.
But that they had to
Oakland
operate.
conflict.
The pellets.
But they had to operate on a penalty,
LA
A
pellets.
penalty? What does that mean?
meaning like
A handicap.
they had a
Golf.
handicap. Yeah. So let's say they
Are
had
they allowed
a
to dope?
They had
no. Like that. Let's say that they had a handicap of like a second per
They had to wear a
100.
drag suit. They had to wear a drag suit. Like a
Or
big,
that,
big
yeah,
ass
or they had to
drag
wear-
suit. Drag suit.
The fist one.
Or they had to wear practice
The
suits.
fist.
We're with socks. We're those like mesh socks.
No goggles allowed.
They would
I
be
don't
called the Moscow Dopers.
Wow, Justin.
Wow.
And I'm gonna get shot by a Russian person real soon.
Sunblad's coming for you. Anyway, so I think it's been a good few weeks of
Yeah.
of competition. We're all excited to see where it goes. But yeah, next year trades, drops. I don't know.
I'm looking forward to the next round, and
Signing
I'm
free agents.
really glad it's so easy to find and to see. I love that, my family in the Caribbean can see it. My friends in Canada can see it so easy. They made a really good job of seeing it easily on my phone around the world. And I'm super excited for it. It's very, very watchable. And
Again,
I
I
encourage
heard
you guys
today.
to watch it.
It's not that accessible in Asia.
Really.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
No, yeah, maybe the ESPN coverage or what's going on there, but that's interesting. I guess
Yeah.
I guess maybe their competitors or athletes aren't in it, so they just don't have as much intrigue to cover, huh?
Yeah.
Might be part of it.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyways,
All right.
Yeah.
I think that's all we got here today. So thanks for listening, everyone. We appreciate it. Any other comments? Leave them below on the YouTube channel. Any parting words, boys?
I'm excited to see what
I
happens.
want to roll again.
The next
Roar!
See ya.